Is £1,000 budget enough for Christmas? Let's talk about it. Hi guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel, welcome to a new vlog. I'm Lee from Mortgage Free Lee, and today we are talking about my Christmas budget. We're going to chat about how I save for Christmas, who I spend on, how much I spend, and whether it's enough. If you're new here, I'm a budgeting mum of two, and I started budgeting in 2019 when I had my first child and I went on maternity leave. And if we rewind to back then, I never used to have a plan for Christmas. Literally, Christmas would come around every year and it would be like a big surprise, and I had to scramble to find the money. And through my budgeting journey, I have learned a few tips and tricks on how to save money, but also how to save up for Christmas so that when it arrives, it's not such a big shock. So before we get into the ins and outs of my budget, I thought we would talk about how I save up for Christmas, because if you don't do this already, this is going to change your life. And I've talked about it in my budget videos before. I do budget with me videos where I talk about all things family finance. But the number one budgeting tool that has changed my life, especially when it comes to Christmas, is sinking funds. And if you're already thinking, what the heck is a sinking fund? It's basically a pot of money that you build up throughout the year for a one-off expense that is not like a regular bill, it's not coming out every month, but you know it is going to come. Like Christmas, it comes every single year. So what I do is I decide at the start of the year how much I want to have in my Christmas budget at the end of the year. And I will be doing a budget video where we set up my sinking funds for 2026. So definitely subscribe if that sounds like something you need in your life. But I decide in like December 2025 what I want to be spending in December 2026. And then it's literally the simplest thing in the world. I divide it by 12 and I save that every month. So that by the time Christmas 2026 arrives, I have my entire Christmas budget sat there in a savings account ready to go. And the amount of stress this takes out of Christmas is mind-blowing. I don't just do it for Christmas, I do it for a lot of other things, but I'll cover all that when we do the sinking funds video. But that is how I save for Christmas. And if you haven't done that this year, I highly, highly recommend you try this for 2026. Because I'm not joking, it will actually change your life. And over the last few years, I've definitely learned quite a few things about myself, about Christmas, about my spending habits that are going to help me save money this Christmas. And the first thing I learned is that last year I budgeted £750 for Christmas. And it was not enough. There were things that I hadn't included in my sinking fund that in an ideal world I would include. So over the course of 2025, I've been saving a little bit more to make sure that I've got enough to cover all of those things. So last year my Christmas budget was £750, and that was £150 for the kids' gifts. I have two kids. They are 3 and 6, so I can get away with spending a little bit less on them. I know when they become teenagers and they want pricier things like a PlayStation or trainers that cost £100, it's different. But right now I can get away with having that sort of budget for my kids. It was £150 for the adults because we do buy gifts for the adults. It's not necessary, but I love gifting. I really do love it. And I also quite like receiving gifts. It doesn't feel like Christmas to me without receiving gifts, and that's just personal. So we do gift each other. We enjoy it. So we budget £150 for each adult as well. So that's £600 of the budget. And then I had £150 for gifting everyone else. And I'll talk about who everyone else is shortly. So that was my £750 budget. It was all gifts, but it didn't include the extra food shop that you do at Christmas. It didn't include the extra petrol that you do for travelling at Christmas. It didn't include any events that we might be going to. It didn't include childcare because last year I was at work over Christmas. So my daughter had to go into holiday club a couple of days. They actually finished really early last year. I think it was like a week before Christmas. And if you're working, you're going to have someone to look after the kids, right? So it didn't include any of those things. And I wanted to rectify that this year. So I learned from that. And this year I've increased my budget to £1,000. Now, before I go into that £1,000 and how it's broken down, I thought I would explain who I gift for. So obviously I gift for my 2 children. Then there's me and my husband. Then I've got that £150 that I mentioned earlier that is for everyone else. So who is everyone else? This might seem a little bit strange, but I gift my side of the family, but we don't really gift my husband's side, and I'll explain why. Basically, I obviously gift my mum. She's our only childcare support. She helps us out a lot, so I always want to get my mum something nice. And she's not one to spend on herself either. So I like to spend a little bit more on my mum. Then I've got my dad. I just tend to buy him a token gift. There's nothing you can buy that man that he actually wants. And I also have 2 brothers. Me and my 2 brothers honestly just kind of pass the same £20 around. I'll buy them like a gift card, they'll buy me a gift card. Or if they want something specific, I'll buy that. And you might be like, well, what's the point if you're all just passing the same £20 around? The point is, if I didn't give my brothers the £20 and they didn't give me, a coffee shop voucher or whatever it is that I've asked for, I wouldn't spend that £20 on myself. Whereas if my brother gives me a £20 voucher for somewhere, I'll actually use that voucher on whatever it was that I wanted in the first place. Whereas if I just keep the £20, it'll just get absorbed into something boring. I'll have nothing to show for it. So honestly, it works for us. It might not make sense to you, and that's okay. I also have a sister-in-law who I like to buy something for. And I've got a niece and nephew now on my side of the family. So obviously I gift them. They're only young. They're like similar to my kids' ages. So I like to get them something. My husband's side of the family is a completely different story. We do get his mum something, just as sort of a token gift. We've got her like a nice body wash set this year and also some perfume. But my husband also has 2 brothers, and I've got a sister-in-law on that side of the family and an unofficial brother-in-law because they won't get married, which I'm devastated about because I really want a wedding to go to. But the adults on that side of the family have agreed not to gift each other. It wasn't my suggestion. I'm quite happy gifting. But they decided not to gift each other, and so we respect their wishes and nobody gifts each other on the adults on that side of the family. We do gift my nephew on that side of the family, but that's it honestly for my husband's side. So the £150 budget I have for the rest of the family is probably about right when you consider all of the people that we're gifting over there. So if we now move into this year's budget, as I said, I wanted to increase it from last year because I just didn't include some things that honestly I should have included. So I set my budget of £1,000 and it's broken down really simply. I do not make my money complicated. I always keep it simple. So it's £150 for each of the kids, so that's £300. £150 for each of the adults, that's £600. I will say I'm flexible with this. So if my son's gifts don't cost very much, but that's all he wants, I've got a little bit more to spend on my daughter. I'm not strict about having the exact same amount of money spent on everyone. If the kids' gifts cost a little bit more, the adults might not spend as much on each other, you know what I mean? It's just flexible. But that is £600 of the budget. I've got the £150 gifting for everyone else, and then I've got an extra £250 this year, and that is for Christmas food, the Christmas food shop, petrol because we go and see my parents and they live quite a way away, events and charity. So this year we've been really lucky to have a lot of gifted events for Christmas, and the other things that we're going to are like low cost or community events that don't cost anything. But we still need to have money for like food or refreshments that we buy or like bits and bobs that we buy when we're at any of these events. I do quite a lot of charity donations. So I always do a food bank shop, and this year I'm going to be donating some gifts, which you will see on YouTube Shorts. I think you will love that video, so hopefully you spot that one. I've got a donation currently sitting in my kitchen, which is for the A&E staff. It was one of those Dunelm gift tree tags, and that was for the A&E staff at our local hospital. So I've got all of the stuff that I bought for that. So it's these kind of costs that sort of add up that I didn't include last time, and I really wish that I had. So I've got £250 in my budget now for all of that. And I feel like that seems like a better amount, but what I will say is that this year I feel like I'm already feeling the need that I'm going to need more next year, because I feel like the kids' gifts and just the general cost of everything is going up so much that it might not feel like quite enough next year, especially because my daughter's going to be 7. She's getting a little bit older. She's going to want more specific things. It's not just going to be like I can just go and find whatever bargain I want to find and give it to her. She's going to want specific things. And I just feel like we might end up needing a little bit more budget. But then at the same time, £1,000 is a lot of money, and that seems like a good budget for Christmas. I don't know, what do you think? Is £1,000 budget enough for a family of 4 at Christmas to cover family gifting, food shop, petrol, events? It all adds up, doesn't it? The costs definitely all add up. And with that in mind, I kind of wanted to touch on how I save money at Christmas as well. So number 1, shop secondhand when you can. If you saw my What I Got My Kids for Christmas video from last year, I managed to get quite a lot of secondhand items that were like really, really good. This year I've struggled because my daughter wants a very specific main gift. My son already has most of the popular things like magnetiles, marble runs, Duplo, all of that stuff. He's already got it all. And I honestly just haven't seen as much that I feel like would work for gifting them this year, partly because they have so many toys. They just don't need that many toys. So a lot of what I'm giving my daughter is craft-based items, and obviously you can't buy a craft secondhand unless it's new in the box because the craft would have been done. So the only thing that I've managed to pick up so far is a Trolls puzzle, because she's been quite into Trolls. So I've got a Trolls puzzle, that was like £2 secondhand. But if you can, and especially when your kids are like much younger, like babies, shopping secondhand is the way. And if there's something specific that your kids want that you could get secondhand, definitely look at that first as a first option. For example, my son last year, I think for his birthday or Christmas, I got him a Happy Land automatic train set, and I got that secondhand. which saved me like half of the price of it. I do have a Playmobil police station that is partially built in my wardrobe room that I will be gifting him, but I think maybe not this year. And again, that has saved me so much money on the cost it would have cost me brand new. Even though I have to replace a few other parts, it's still going to have cost me a fraction of the price. So shopping secondhand is definitely my first major money saving Christmas tip. My second one is not overbuying. Don't let yourself have that moment where you're like, have I got enough? No, I need to go and get some extra bits. Don't do it, because you don't need extra bits. No one will know. I've definitely been guilty of this in the past, and one of the places I used to really, really overspend on Christmas is food. I used to buy so much food. I think I'm like a food hoarder. I used to like stock the cupboards full of food that we just couldn't get through it all. So I have scaled my Christmas food shopping way back. Way back. We actually don't buy a lot that's specific for Christmas now, because we're out for dinner on Christmas Day with my husband's mum. We're out for dinner on Boxing Day at my mum's. There's only so much chocolate one family can eat. So I've scaled it right back. Like, we will be getting some like buffet picky bits, because I like to do a Christmas Eve buffet. We will get some stuff for like a Christmas dinner, maybe. And then like, you know, some nice cheese, a box of crackers, a box of biscuits, a box of chocolate, and honestly, that's probably the majority of it. I've cut back so much on how much food I buy, which obviously saves a lot of money. The third thing we do to save money is obviously we don't gift for some of the people in our family. And like I said, that wasn't my suggestion, it's their suggestion, but it does save us money. And then number 4, definitely savvy shopping, cashback and deals. You know, if you've seen any of my videos before, that I use cashback. So I use cashback sites. I use Top Cashback, Quidco, Rakuten, EverUp, Jam Donut. I use so many cashback sites, and there are so many really good deals and bonuses this time of year. There's new member sign up bonuses when you're new, where you'll get a bonus if you meet certain criteria. There are bonus offers when you're spending a set amount of money. There are also just some really good cashback rates anyway. And then for things like your food shop, or if you're shopping in store, there are those instant cashback sites where you buy an e-gift card and they give you cashback on that. I will pop some of my links in the description box, but I'll also link some previous videos that I've done on this topic, so you can go and watch those if you want to see what I'm talking about. If you're new to cashback, it's going to blow your mind a little bit. But once you get on board with it, it's going to save you so much money. And then obviously shopping for deals. It's literally Black Friday on the day when I'm recording this. And what I will say is, when it comes to deals, don't get sucked in. Make sure you are actually getting a deal. But with a bit of savvy shopping and using good deals and offers, you can definitely save a lot of money. For example, my husband's Christmas gifts are worth about £240 and I paid under £100 after cashback, which I might do a separate video on. But all of these things definitely help us save money at Christmas and then be able to stay within that smaller budget that we've set for ourselves. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. How much are you budgeting for Christmas? How many people is that for? Do you feel like the cost of everything is getting more expensive this year? And if you've got any really good money saving Christmas tips, drop them in the comments, because I'd love to hear them. But whatever you do, do leave me a comment. You have no idea how much dropping a comment on a video like this can help a little channel like mine. I'm Lee from Mortgage Free Lee. I talk about money and mum life on the internet. We've been decluttering my house a lot lately, but in the lead up to Christmas and the new year, I think we're definitely going to be doing a lot more money content. So I'm going to do some videos about what I've got my kids and my husband for Christmas and what budget that was on, how I saved money on those gifts. We're going to be setting up my 2026 sinking funds and my 2026 budget, and talking about how to have a financial reset for 2026. I'm also going to try and start popping in some extra videos, so you might see some midweek uploads popping in. At the moment, I upload every Saturday at 9 AM, but when I've got an extra video, I'm going to be popping it in on a Wednesday at 6 PM, I think. So definitely watch out for those. And if all that sounds like something you would enjoy, click subscribe and I'll see you on the next one.